Hello folks, this is Sula speaking, and you're listening to a commentary video for League of Legends, this one featuring Teemo, the Speedy Scout. I'm playing in a full pre-made custom game with people that we know on both teams. So on my team, we have Ashane playing Ashe, Donsky playing Janna, Roland playing Nasus, and Seirun playing Warwick. We're matched up against Cynical Brit playing Shen, Mookie playing Pantheon, Cole playing Akali, Zero playing Caitlyn, and Uberfish playing Nunu. So this is a lot of names, and I'll do my best to keep them all straight as we go through and play this game. Teemo is kind of an interesting champion. He can be played in a number of different styles. He can be played geared towards attack damage. He can be played geared towards magic damage. For this particular game, I'm going to gear him more towards attack damage, just based on the setup and composition of our team. I'm going to be taking the middle lane, and I'm going to be laning against Mookie's Pantheon, which is a pretty good matchup in terms of Teemo, and I'll explain why that is as we go along. Anyway, here I'm going to type in to all Captain Teemo ready for duty, which is what Teemo says when you pick him on the character select screen. Although unfortunately I misspell ready, and then everybody gives me grief about that, as you'll see in the comments. Anyway, the reason why I'm going to run out here and stand in the middle of the lane is due to Teemo's passive, which I'll talk about right now. See the little Teemo face on top of the interface, both on the left-hand side of the screen next to the Q skill, and also on top of that. This means that Teemo's passive has kicked in. This is called camouflage. If Teemo stands still and takes no action for 3 seconds, he becomes stealth and goes invisible. So that's what you see in action. Right now, I'm currently invisible, and no one on their team can see me. This isn't, I wouldn't say it's the most useful passive, because when you're laning back and forth or when you're in the middle of a fight, you know, obviously it's not going to be particularly useful, but you can use it to set up some interesting maneuvers. If you know that the enemy team is going to be heading somewhere, you can get there ahead of time and stand still for a couple seconds, and then you'll be stealth, and then you can try to kill them. This can be particularly useful sometimes if you say know that a jungler is going to go for a certain buff. You can get there ahead of them, you can stand there, be invisible, and then when they take a whole bunch of damage from fighting, say, the golem or the lizard, you can then, right when they're about to kill it, you can pop out, de-stealth, and suddenly you're attacking them, and often you can kill them before they even really know what's going on. So anyway, when the other team's Caitlyn, Zero, was walking around there, he couldn't see me, and I was invisible. And over there, it looks like the other team's Nunu Seirun was trying to mess with our jungle, but Donsky's Janna scared him off. Anyway, so here, I'm going to wait to de-stealth until Mookie comes nearby. I'm going to get this first minion, and then I'm going to go after him. Oh, and by the way, when Teemo de-stealthed, he also gets an attack speed bonus. He gets 30% extra attack speed for 3 seconds. So pretty useful skill if you can set it up right. I didn't really take advantage of that particularly well in this game, and I wish that I had. But so I only used that camouflage passive really right here at the beginning of the game. Okay, anyway, in terms of Teemo's other skills, the main way that Teemo deals damage is through his poison. You can see that I put my first point in Teemo's E skill, and that's the one that I'm going to max first. This is known as Toxic Shot is the official name. I wrote it down here, but the actual skill is usually just thought of as Teemo's Poison. This isn't a skill that you actually use. It's a pure passive. He just gains poison damage every time he auto attacks or anytime he uses his Q skill. And since they added the poison indicator in a relatively recent League of Legends patch, now you can see when something's poisoned. It gets that little cloud above its head. So I'm going to max that first, and it's going to do a lot of poison damage. Poison damage is considered magic damage, so keep that in mind if you're building Teemo. You probably will want to have, if you're going to be focusing on his poison, and that's usually the way people build Teemo, you're going to be wanting more stuff that increases magic damage, magic penetration, not armor penetration. So anyway, just keep that in mind. Here I'm trying to use my advantage of range, because I have a ranged auto attack and Mookie's Pantheon does not. I'm going to try to beat him up, and I'm going to continue poisoning him over and over again. So look how much damage my poison has done to him. I'm really beating him up here in the lane. And if Teemo were a little bit more sturdy, I might try to flash in there and get the kill, but Teemo is very squishy, so I'm not going to try to do that. Okay, anyway, as far as Teemo's other skills, I want to talk next about his Q skill, because that's the next one I put a point in. This is known as Blinding Dart. Teemo fires a little dart, and when it hits the enemy, it deals a little extra, deals some damage. It also applies your attack damage, and it also adds the poison effect from his E skill. So anytime you shoot someone with one of your darts, you'll deal you'll deal your attack damage, and then you'll also poison them too. So the key advantage of the blinding dart is that it has extra range. It has more range than your auto attacks, so you can shoot a little bit further. So you can poison people from a distance. It's also useful for finishing off a champion that's trying to run away. You can auto attack while they're close and then finish them off with a blinding dart at range. So useful for that. The other thing that it does is it blinds the target for, I think it's like 1 or 2 seconds, not exactly sure how long. So when a champion's blinded, that means that their auto attacks will automatically miss. That is, they won't hit with their auto attacks. So this makes Teemo pretty useful when he's laning against champions that rely on auto attacking. So Teemo's actually pretty good against a champion like Pantheon. See, all of Pantheon's damage is physical. He doesn't have any, I believe he doesn't do any magic damage, except possibly his ult. I'll have to double check on that. But Pantheon is pretty much all physical damage. So he relies on using his spear to attack. So as long as you can keep Pantheon from jumping on you and then using his Heartseeker strike, I can just beat him up at range. So like right there, Mookie's going to jump on me. And now here comes Uberfish out of the jungle with Nunu. They're going to go after me, but I'm going to be able to get out of that using Ghost Flash. So that was a pretty good attempt at a kill, but I was able to get out of it equally well, I think. And in fact, if Uberfish wasn't right there, I would have gone in after Mookie and tried to kill him there. But because the threat of that jungler was still in the area, I decided to back out. Anyway, that's why I took Ghost Flash with Teemo. There are other options you can take, but because I knew I was going to be in a solo lane, I thought it would be useful to have the escapability, just for situations like that when a jungler would come after me, and it certainly worked out well there. All right, anyway, continuing with Teemo's skills, his W skill I put 1 point into at level 4, and I'll leave it there and max that skill last. This is Teemo's skill known as Move Quick. It gives him additional bonus movement speed. So if you've noticed, there's a little blue flame indicator sort of thing right behind Teemo while this skill's on. This is actually the same indicator that you get when you use Ghost as the Ghost Summoner skill. Basically, it gives Teemo extra movement speed, 15% at the first point in the skill, and then another 5% for each point you put in it, so up to 30% at 5 points in the skill. And he will keep that movement speed until he's struck by either an enemy champion or an enemy turret. So it's really useful in the laning phase. It makes you very fast. Basically, Teemo without boots is as fast as a champion with boots, and Teemo with rank 1 boots will be as fast as a champ with rank 2 boots, and so on and so forth. So it makes him very speedy. It allows him to move around. That's why it's called Move Quick. So useful skill. The only thing is, if you're in a fight, it generally won't help you that much, because as soon as you get hit, it will obviously be deactivated. So that's why I still have taken Ghost with Teemo. Not for use while laning or anything, but for use in a situation like when a jungler comes and gets me, because as soon as I take damage, it's going to go off. Like right there, Mookie hit me with his spear, and that knocked off my Move Quick. So that was a nice play by him. But I was still able to get out of the situation regardless. Alright, anyway, let me wrap up by talking about Teemo's ultimate, which is his most unique skill. Teemo's ultimate is called Noxus Trap, but nobody calls the skill that. Everyone actually refers to it as Teemo's Mushrooms or Teemo's Shrooms. So he has the ability to put down these little mushrooms on the map, and the mushrooms will give a tiny bit of sight around them. Not much, but a little bit of sight. If you can look, might be able to see some little green indicators on the mini-map that show this. So they give a little bit of sight, but the main thing that they do is anyone who touches them will get poisoned. They'll take a fair amount of damage. As you put more points into the skill, they can end up taking a lot of damage, and they'll also be slowed for the next couple seconds. So with Teemo, in order to play Teemo effectively, you have to use his shrooms well. You should be putting down shrooms constantly all over the map in lanes that people are likely to walk through. They're one of the few ways he has of protecting himself. That and his Move Quick. Those are really your only two ways to get away, your shrooms and your Move Quick. You'll notice that Teemo can also hold up to 3 mushrooms. This was changed in a patch relatively recently, maybe a month or two ago in League of Legends. He used to be only able to carry 1 mushroom, and Teemo was pretty weak, but the ability to carry that second mushroom made him a lot more viable. Well, not second mushroom, 3 mushrooms. Now, when you get up to 3 mushrooms, you won't carry more, so you never really want to be at 3 mushrooms. As soon as you get up to 3, you want to start dropping them so that Teemo can start adding more mushrooms to his repertoire. So using mushrooms, put them in places where enemy champs are likely to go, in the brush, in likely paths that the enemy might take to try to come and get you. If you can I've seen a lot of players use these on some of the higher tier streams, so I'm trying to put them in likely places. I actually am misplacing some of these mushrooms. If you notice, I have 2 mushrooms sort of in the corners there. I was trying to duplicate what I had seen some other players do, but I actually misplaced them. Where I want them to be is in sort of the corners of the lane, like see right where that light is, next to the left of Mookie's Pantheon, like where that burning flame is. A mushroom right there is really good because you can... any jungler who tries to come out and get you and runs around the corner is going to hit it. Also, you can sort of protect yourself when you're running away by running behind the mushroom and getting people to trip it. So those mushrooms are actually misplaced, but like the one in the brush right in the middle is pretty well placed, and I'm going to continue shrooming up here. So those shrooms aren't in particularly good spots, but you know, practice, you gotta live and learn. This is the first game I've ever tried to play Teemo. I've just watched other people play them, so need more practice, get better at it. Anyway, the only real thing of interest that's happened in the game so far is that Mookie jumped into top lane with Pantheon and was able to get a kill up there on Roland's Nasus. So their team is ahead 1 kill to none, and Mookie did... I think it was Mookie who got the kill. It was either Mookie or Cole Zakali got first blood up there. So they did take first blood, so that will put them a little bit ahead. And like right there, Mookie's spear knocks me out of my move quick, but I'll turn it back on again as soon as it comes off. Still, like, even though Mookie jumps on me right there, I'm not too concerned by that because he took almost as much damage from that exchange as I did. And as long as I can just keep shooting him with my poison over and over again, I'm pretty confident that I can win this lane. Teemo is a pretty good counter to Pantheon. Pantheon is really good against a lot of champs, but Teemo is not one of them. If you've noticed, every time I hit him, I get that poison effect, and now that I have 4 points in it, my poison is pretty strong, doing quite a bit of damage. One thing I will point out, though... and notice that even though Pantheon's passive will oftentimes block the actual damage from my auto attack, it doesn't block the damage from poison. So even if my auto attack gets blocked, he still gets hit by the poison, which is pretty nice. The only thing that he can really do is jump on me and then stun me, but frankly, he's not going to kill me doing that, and I can continue harassing him down. Now, one other thing that I'll mention here, since Mookie's right by the tower, is if you poison a champion and he's next to a tower, that poison damage keeps ticking, and the tower will refocus to attack you. So you have to be careful with that. Here I wanted to place another mushroom, but I actually didn't have enough mana to do so. Teemo doesn't get that much mana. He doesn't need that much mana because his passive doesn't even use... I mean, his passive doesn't use mana cost, but you can still run out of it if you're placing a lot of shrooms. So anyway, you can see I'm really beating up Mookie in the lane. I mean, he can jump on me, but I mean, he's not going to kill me. And every time he comes forward to harass me, I'm just going to harass him back. And to be perfectly honest, I think that I can win that matchup. Between the two of us with the amount of poison damage that Teemo does. He can't auto-attack me because I'm going to blind him with one of my darts if he tries to auto-attack me. So really the only thing he can do is hit me with jump on me and stun me with his shield and then use his Heartseeker. And other than that, you know, there's not a whole lot he can do. So like right here, I'm not really afraid of him at this tower. I'm gonna try to harass the tower a little bit, or at least make it tough for him to farm. And then notice right here, Cynical Brit Shen ults Mookie and actually ulted the wrong person. The idea there was to ult Cole up in the top lane, so that was a misplay, clicking on the wrong person, I think. So bit of a mistake there. Oh well. Anyway, like right here, Mookie's going to ignite me. He's going to toss his spear, but I'm going to use Ghost Flash and get out of that. So he used both his summoners to go after me. I used both my summoners to escape. I actually could have gotten out of that without ghosting, but better safe than sorry, I think. And here I'm going to continue shrooming up the entrances to into the lane here. And let's see, I guess I was sticking around to grab a few more minions, but then I realized that I should probably just go back to base, because Mookie is Pantheon. He can recall back to base, and then he can jump on me, so I don't want to take too many chances. You always have to be aware, anytime you're playing against a Pantheon, anytime they go back to base, they can then jump. Notice that I have 80 minion kills, and I think Mookie had about 45. I'll double check and get that number on here, just for anyone who missed it. But in case you haven't noticed, I'm actually winning the lane pretty well here. I mean, Mookie did get the kill on another lane, but as far as this lane itself, yeah, I have 80 and he has 46. So I'm pretty happy with how this lane is going, and I've been able to dodge several attempted kills by their jungler. Anyway, we're getting to the end of part 1, so we're going to pick this up again in part 2.